Hey there, welcome to our Etc. show. I'm Chris, got Joe with me. Kind of a weird day, Joe. We are actually taping this at early Thanksgiving Eve, I guess, right? The Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
That's right.
You and I are off, so this feels
Mm-hmm.
very strange. We're actually doing this during the day. Paul, I'm not sure if he's off or not, but he's got some obligations, so he can't make it. But how are you doing, Joe?
I'm doing just fine. I've been able to, get a lot of sleep, sleeping in until like 7:30 in the morning.
Whoa. Yeah, your school is off for the week, which is wild.
I'm used to getting up at 5:30, so actually getting up at 7:30 is sleeping in.
The school my wife teaches at, they had to go to school Monday and Tuesday, but they're off for the week.
Right.
Columbus, the big city schools, are off for the week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
kind
what
of
we
wild.
are. We're Jackson Public Schools, so yeah, it's the whole week.
Yeah, they were saying. I remember like the Columbus Dispatch's story on that. They're almost like treating it as a mental health time, like just saying, "Hey, take the week off. Don't worry about it. We're good." I don't know, and they're still doing it this year,
which is pretty necessary. I don't know about anybody else. We had a fall break, which in previous years was 2 days. You had an extra 2 days off, so you get a 4-day weekend. This year, it was only 3. And then, so we had a Friday off. And then on Monday was parent-teacher conference day.
Okay.
Which for people who are working there is not at all a restful day. It was a very stressful day to have multiple conversations with parents who are unaware of the difficulties that their students are having in school. So that becomes a very stressful day.
Well, and then here's the other thing too. If you just have it 1 or 2 days, it's hard to get a lot done. Like my job, I worked Monday and Tuesday. We got a lot done, but a lot of it was, okay, here's all the projects we have from the past 2 weeks. Let's wrap them all up. It's hard to say on that Monday or Tuesday because a lot of people we talked to are off too. It's hard to say, okay, I'm going to start this new project and get it done. It was just more of a, all right, I got 5 things that are partly done. And the good news is I got them all done, but it's hard to start a new project on. I imagine it's the same thing for school people too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Very good.
Very much so.
Well, hey, it's Etc. show. We're not really into talking about educational theory. We're into talking about very weird stories. And starting out, I found a weird one. There was a show. I don't know if you remember this, Joe. This was like one of the first Etc. shows we actually did. We found raves in Mississippi, and that turned into a big long discussion.
Yeah. I remember that conversation.
Yeah, and we thought, hey, maybe this is this Mississippi thing. They weren't really advertised. They were just kind of out there and everything. Well, I found in Cleveland at the House of Blues, which I've been to House of Blues for concerts before, a pretty cool place. Shrek rave is coming. And it seems like it's very tongue-in-cheek. I'm looking at the poster. It's dumb. Just come have fun. Cool is dead. Who cares?
That is literally what it says on the poster.
Yes.
It's dumb. Just come have fun.
So at least to their point, they're not making this into, oh, we think this is going to be the next big thing, a Shrek rave. At least it's very tongue-in-cheek. But a Shrek rave? What's happening here, man?
I don't know. I suppose they need to have a theme. So they need to have something. I don't know. I've not been to very many raves myself. I think the total number is somewhere around 0. So I don't know what is necessary in order to have a rave, but it also, it's dumb. Just come have fun. Cool is dead, and who cares? With an exclamation point instead of a question mark.
Yeah.
If no one cares, then why do you need to go to this?
Well, and here's the thing, too. I don't want to sound like I'm an old man, but isn't part of a rave, like, weird behavior? Like, I'm not saying they're all drug-fueled or anything, but isn't part of a rave a chance to go do crazy stuff?
Well...
Not all of them do.
I don't really know. I feel like with the exceedingly loud music and very bright lights and whatever, it's sort of this sensory overload experience.
Right.
That by reputation I don't have firsthand knowledge of this, but by reputation, this would be something that is enhanced by, chemical intake, enhances the sensory overload experience.
Well, Shrek's kind of old, right? Like, my 10 and 16-year-old aren't into Shrek, but, is this kind of like a family deal?
No. This would be something for the age of people who Shrek was something that they were into when they were young. And so now we capitalize on that to get them to come to this rave.
I wish I could challenge that answer, but if you go to the House of Blues Cleveland Facebook page, they posted a video of what the Shrek rave looks like. Yes, it's definitely not family friendly.
No. It is not a family rave.
Yeah, there's a scene of, and this is Shrek Rave 2. So apparently we had a first series of raves beforehand. A lot of people dancing, a lot of beer flowing around. A woman that looks in bikini doing like a dive into a bunch of people. So yeah, don't bring your kids to this Shrek Rave.
I was gonna. Okay, we'll find something else.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out how much the Shrek Rave would cost because, concert tickets have gone way up lately. There's a health advisory, which I can imagine that. Thank goodness this wasn't in the midst of COVID, or probably everyone gets COVID at a Shrek Rave, I'd imagine.
Well, yeah, it's a super spreader event, essentially.
Yes.
27. Yeah, that's kind of the idea, and I think that this is something that probably they have not been able to do for a certain amount of time because of COVID restrictions and whatever else. I mean, the idea is to wear weird costumes, have loud music playing, lights flashing everywhere, and just everybody dancing. We'll call that dancing. We'll put quotation marks around it. In close proximity.
I always like to look at like the price of these concerts to say, and again, I'm not a rave type guy, but you always kind of wonder and say, like Taylor Swift. There's been a lot of news about how Taylor Swift, the concert prices have skyrocketed. Now it costs you like $1,000 for Taylor Swift. So it doesn't matter to me
for like the seats down on the floor right in front of the stage.
Right. But even if you're a big Taylor Swift fan, I don't think a lot of people are like, man, I'd spend $1,000 for a Taylor Swift concert.
Do you know how many Taylor Swift albums you could purchase for $1,000?
Yes, or download. You can buy.
You could both. Well, I mean, how many times can you download it? Really, once you've downloaded it, you have.
Oh yeah, so unless you want copies or whatever.
You go to a bunch of different services and buy it multiple times. Yes. But still, how many times could you do that for $1,000? There are artists for whom if you spent $1,000, they would come to your house.
Oh yes. Well, and speaking of that, the Shrek Rave. I don't know if you looked at the ticket price. How much do you think tickets would go for a Shrek Rave?
Yeah, I really have no frame of reference. This is a guess. I'm pulling it clear out of nowhere. Okay. I'm gonna say $30.
Oh, very close. $27.25. Kind of an odd ticket price, but
probably because ultimately it does cost you $30 with.
I'm sure after fees, yeah, you're probably looking at $40. Yeah, the fees are.
Yeah, that was just a guess, man. I really had no idea.
Well, and here's the thing too. Okay, you probably have like Shrek pictures up there, but it's not like a band. It's just some DJ playing tunes. So you're playing $27 for a party atmosphere. You can't even just say, "Hey, I like this band. I like this DJ." You're paying for the Shrek appearance, probably green beer and other stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what there's a lot of neon green, but I don't know what makes it particularly Shrek.
Well, I saw at the beginning of the video on the Facebook page, there's like a video image of Shrek dancing in the background. But
how is that legal? Did they pay for the rights to have
I
image
don't know.
of Shrek at their rave?
Yeah, that's a good question. And
I wouldn't think that the what is it? Who has Shrek? Gosh, I forget which company. DreamWorks is DreamWorks.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, like I wouldn't imagine DreamWorks would be happy with the Shrek raves happening because their material is marketed to children.
Well, I was going to say, why would you pay $27 to go to a rave? I mean, in essence, it's a party. Now, granted, it's at a bigger venue, the House of Blues or anything, but in essence, you're paying $27 to go to a party. Maybe you're doing that,
and then you have to pay for the drinks,
right? So maybe that's why the tickets are $27. They're paying off DreamWorks or something. I don't know,
and that may be part of it. But you're also paying for the DJ and the electricity for all of those lights.
So it's kind of like their version of, what do you call it? We've talked about the churches that rip off like Hamilton and other things.
Yes.
This definitely isn't church related, but so I feel bad.
I don't know. I think if you had a church rave, that would be something.
Or it could be very.
I'm for it.
You have rave versions of Amazing
If you had a church rave, yeah, Lazarus being raised from the rave.
Oh yeah, okay,
I'm for it. Yeah, I'm good at that.
I've just heard enough bad Christian dance music that I wasn't interested. But if you start throwing in like Lazarus being raised at a rave, okay, you got me back in, hooked up a little bit. But I feel bad for all these like popular, like Hamilton and Shrek, and all these other popular things, because they're being attacked by everybody. It's by the churches who want to rip them off. It's by raves who want to use their images. Man,
and this is the reason why copyright law exists.
Yes,
because anytime there's anything popular, everybody wants to capitalize on it.
Yeah, from churches to alcohol-fueled dance parties.
How many things were bat themed in 1989?
Oh yeah,
with Batman, and it was stuff that was unrelated to Batman.
Well, we had a weird
the movie or anything. So
we actually had one of the stars of the performance come on the podcast once. There was like an Office parody. It was like the musical, but it was kind of off unlicensed. Yeah. So it was enough where they weren't going to get the pantsuit off them, but it ticked off the regular Office people. Yeah. And they would just have a production, and they tried to make it newsworthy. We actually had the girl that played Michael Scott, and they're like, "Ooh, it's a girl playing Michael Scott. This is strange and crazy and everything." And it was $30-$40 to go to the Office musical. And again, you were seeing college actors. You weren't seeing Michael Scott or anybody else like that. It was rough. So yeah, I don't know what to think about this. I don't know. I mean, maybe to play the other side, I could be like, man, this is great. But this sounds a little amateurish. I mean, the video, the rave looks pretty exciting. It looks like a lot of people are there and everything. But I just don't look at this as a great, wonderful, big event.
I mean, whatever venue that's in on the video that's on their Facebook page there, that just looks like a warehouse. That's not anything fancy.
Yeah, there is a sign. I haven't seen Shrek too much lately. And let me pause this so I can know what they're saying. There's a sign where a woman's holding up pick number 3, my lord. Is that a Shrek reference?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen Shrek for a while.
It's been a while.
And again, Shrek 2. I mean, I guess these House of Blues, you gotta book acts. I mean, you can't have, Taylor Swift come every night.
Somebody's job right now is traveling around doing Shrek raves. That is their job. That's the weirdest thing.
It sounds ridiculous, but is it better? Okay, I don't want to make anybody mad here, but I'm seeing another post from House of Blues. Okay, here's some other events they have coming up. Charlie Crockett. Have you heard of Charlie Crockett?
Nope.
Wesley Arms, Raven Lene, and a couple sold-out shows coming up, Bad Omens and Break-Ins. Now, again, I'm too old. Maybe I don't know the younger people's music, but there's 5 random shows I've never heard of before. So at least Shrek 2 is going to get people like us talking about it. You know what I mean? The rave. I mean, it sounds ridiculous. I wouldn't be caught dead in a Shrek rave. But at least when you go for the events, you're like, oh, at least I've heard of Shrek. Sounds ridiculous, but at least I know who that is, right?
I guess. I
suppose
maybe that's the idea.
Yeah. So no one do their own productions. Nobody do your own music. Just have some rip off of some. So if you and I ever did a band, say we're a musical and we want to do a band, don't don't write your own stuff. Just rip off Shrek or something else like that.
That's right. Our band name is Shrek too.
Well, it was funny. There was actually a Christian band I used to like called 38th Parallel. They had some really good music. They couldn't make it in Christian music, or maybe the money wasn't there. They became what's the Hogwarts? Harry Potter. They became a Harry Potter themed band, and they actually made money off that. They dropped the Christian label, and they just wrote music about Harry Potter. But they made money.
That's ridiculous.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, don't put out any new music or anything new. Just pick some nostalgia to rip off, and you're going to make more money doing that. I mean, that's
not why I'm doing anything in the arts, and so
isn't that depressing? Yeah,
I would just have lost all of my own. I would no longer respect myself.
I'm seeing a tear. Yeah, I'm seeing tears rolling down Joe's eyes as he's thinking about the future here. It's just very rough. All right.
Well, because I know that it's true.
Yeah.
I know how I'm painfully aware of how true that is, but it hurts my soul.
Okay. Well, let's find something that, I mean, the Exciter show shouldn't be hurting each other.
Yeah.
This story I found was very interesting. It comes from Business Insider. Now, sometimes on these Exciter shows, we pick out these random websites. I'm not even sure if they're real or not. And they're just a story to have fun about. But Business Insider is a pretty leading business publication. So I don't have any reason to doubt this story. In Germany, there was a guy. He found a lost check for 4.6 million euros. That's 4.8 million when we look at American dollars. It's for the confectionery company Haribo. Okay. So, he finds his check. And, he's trying to be the nice guy. He was on the way from visiting his mom when he saw a piece of paper fluttering to the ground. He picked it up. He saw it was a check made out to the company from a German supermarket chain. And he didn't know what to do. So he contacted the company. The lawyer said, destroy the check. And he did that. He even sent photo proof as requested. So, okay, he didn't cash a check. He was being honest and everything. So this candy company sends him a thank you box, which includes 6 packs of the company's products, and that's it. So this guy being honest.
6 packs, if it's just a normal size of gummy bears, that's approximately a reward of like maybe $7, because they're sometimes like $1.25 a piece.
Now I'm not sure. Could he have cashed it? I mean, I'm not sure if they would have had to check it. I mean, I'm not sure he would have guaranteed have gotten the money if he just tried to take it to the bank and fake a signature. But the guy saved him $4.8 million. And the company goes and says, hey, here's $10 worth of candy. And the guy in the report says, hey, they're being a little bit cheap. I kind of agree with this guy.
Yeah. I mean, yes. Well, what did he want? $4.8 million worth of gummy bears? Like what? What would what would be appropriate? Somebody finds a check that you had written to somebody for $4.8 million. What do you feel would be an appropriate thank you?
Is there some like equation that you hear? Because there's not news stories about this, but say you find like $50 in a wallet.
Yeah.
And you give it back. And sometimes they say, okay, here's 20. And it's not even an agreement. It's just the person's very happy that you found their wallet. So like, oh, here's 20. So is there like a math equation? Is it like 30-40% of the reward or what's happening there?
None that I'm aware of. But I don't know. It's like, oh, thank you for saving me $4.8 million. Here's $2 million. Like what?
Well,
you didn't save me. Then I still lost $2 million out of this thing.
But it's better than $4.8 million. I mean,
I suppose, but nobody but the company could have cashed this check. He can't go cash for $4.8 million and just walk away.
I wonder. I mean, could he have signed for it and said, "Hey, I'm the marketing guy," or I'm a?
The way they say it in the article, it seems like he couldn't have.
Okay.
But
there's got to be some type of thank you.
Plus, in the defense of the multi-million-dollar corporation, that the package they sent was a standardized thank you package. They just sent him a standard thank you package that they send out for all kinds of things. So, like, they have those prepared, so they sent him one.
For all the other checks they're probably losing.
Well, not the other checks, but maybe for, to send as thank yous to businesses they had meetings with or whatever else. I mean, it's just like a standardized thank you thing. Because they make gummy bears. So, I mean, it's like, we'll just send you some of our gummy bears.
Yeah, and maybe it shouldn't have been in cash, but couldn't you have sent a year's worth of candy or something? And by that, like a box of candy per week or something. I don't know. Well,
maybe it is, and he jumped the gun and didn't realize that he's going to get one of these boxes every week.
Oh, okay.
So maybe he just jumped the gun, and now he's trying to embarrass them. So they're like, "Well, hey, screw you, man, no more."
Well, I work at a job now that I write about PR people, so I'm thinking about this from how I write about the story for work.
Yeah.
The company could have made a big deal about it. Oh, he found a check. Here's a candy bar a week for the next year or something. I mean, now it's kind of one of those.
Well, like how
stories.
many bears are in a package? Do you think?
I don't know. See, I go back.
It's like 30 or something. What if they sent him 4.8 million bears? Like the number of packages that would equal 4.8 million. That'd be kind of fun.
You would definitely have to send out the press release to get covered for that. You can't just do that behind the back. That's why you do it. Thank you very much. Yeah. That's why you do it. Is so that it is a built-in ad campaign right there. Right. It's not costing you money, it's making you money at that point. You've got to call the Today Show and say, hey, we're gonna do something really cool. Can you give us like a 15-minute segment of the Today Show?
We're gonna roll in 4.8 million gummy bears to give to this dude.
But they could make it into a big deal because you're right. Once you read the story, you're like, all right, well, if he could have cashed it, what could they have done? But still, you get this feeling saying, okay, he found a $4.8 million check. Why couldn't they have done more? So the company really missed a big public relations opportunity here. I mean, they could have made out with this,
That's true.
Maybe I should write about for work. I mean, it feels weird. I feel like
really
a work discussion during the extended show.
Okay, so a 1.8 pound bag of Haribo Gold Bears has about 195 bears in it.
Ooh.
Okay, so let's see. Where's my calculator?
Well, as you're looking this up, are these available in the U.S. at all, or is this just a German thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're very very popular in Europe.
Okay.
But they're definitely available in the U.S. They're at every grocery store.
I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. Maybe I'll miss out my $10 box of candy from the store. But isn't this an example of how we have too much candy? Make as much candy as you want. But remember we talked about this before where I said we should have a vote. We should vote for our top 5 candies. We can produce as much as we want of these candies. But all this other stuff, we don't need anymore. Do we need a hair blue bear or whatever? No, we need Reese's peanut butter cups. We need M&Ms, and pick 3 others out, and let's be done with it. See, that's part of the problem here.
Well, I think the real part of the problem is that you've chosen 3 candy bars that are really inferior by global standards. Haribo as a candy company has been around for a very long time, so some of the other ones would not exist in your scheme. Here, they would never have gotten started because these other places already existed.
I'll have to tag them on Twitter. I've actually had some companies reach out to me. Oh, we heard you talked about this. Here you go.
Like sheets. Well, if you wanted to get 4.8 million bears, these 1.8 pound bags, you would need 24,615 bags.
Wow. Maybe
and it's a pound and it's a 2 pound bag almost. Like it's a big bag, and you need 24,000. What are you going to do with 24,600 bags? Oh my gosh!
Maybe
it's just a big truckload of diabetes.
Yes. And I don't know. I feel weird saying this. Do they look like bears?
Yeah.
See, I don't like eating animals. You know what I mean?
You don't like animal crackers? No, you don't like anything that's animal.
Yeah, and it's dumb because you can make the same type of animal cracker and just take off the the stencil.
Make it not be a bear. Make it not be an elephant. Make it not be a giraffe.
If it was just like a circle, I'd probably eat those all day. I don't know. I just feel weird, like, oh, I'm biting the head off a snowman or something. It
Dude, that is the game. That is why you want gummy bears. Is that you bite the heads off the gummy bears? Like that's.
I don't know.
Or worms, gummy worms.
I just don't like the thought of eating things. Like honestly,
I want to say they also have other shapes. So this is the standard Haribo Gold Bears. But there are a lot of other kinds of shapes that they make.
Yeah, it's just very strange. And maybe that's why I like the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. I mean, I'm sure you can get ones that look like, I don't know, snowman or whatever the case might be. But it's just, the classic Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
They're not as good as the classic circle ones. No. I don't know why it's different, but it's different somehow.
Oh, really?
They taste different if you have the snowman or the whatever else. For some reason, it's not as good as when it's just a circle. I don't even really like the smaller ones. I think they're not as good as the regular ones.
I had at church. It's like once every 6 weeks. I run camera. We do like a TV production for a YouTube part. So in our production room, we have a big snack thing where we can grab some snacks we can eat during church while we're doing videos and everything. They had Reese's Peanut Butter Cups trees. And I was like kind of pumping my fist going, yeah, this is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. It had some rice in there or something that just didn't taste that great. I'm like, if it's a tree or whatever, just have the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup and be done with it. But we try to get too fancy with this, Joe. That's the problem. And that's where things really fall.
They're just trying to sell you candies.
Yes, it's very rough. So I don't know. What would you do? I mean, I know we talked about the PR answer, but say you're Joe, you run this German candy outfit. What are you giving back? Say you weren't even thinking from a PR side. You just say, "Oh, he sent us a check. That's great."
I mean, the reason that I'm not good at a job like that is because I would definitely make it a private thing. I wouldn't want to make a PR thing.
Okay,
that's who I am. I'm not necessarily the person that wants to make big deals out of stuff, which is hard because part of my job is to make big deals about stuff. So,
right.
I'm definitely out of my comfort zone most of the time when I'm trying to do that. But I don't know. It's hard to have a standard answer because they're gonna have to know more information about the unique story, like who's this guy and how did he find these things, and like what's a way that I can, as a company, help this guy with something that he was trying to do.
Well, and I was looking at it too from the aspect of like the cost of the stunt. Like I was talking about this with my boss at work the other day on Denny's. Yeah, we might as well mention it now because the story is going to be old by the time we talk about this next. Denny's has this promotion on Thanksgiving morning. They're selling 150 shirts for $5.99. $5.99.
Sure.
If you buy one of these shirts, you get free breakfast for a year. You just wear that shirt into the Denny's. So it becomes a great deal. So for $6, you can get breakfast every day for a year. And what Denny's is counting on is, are you really going to wear that same shirt to Denny's every day for a year? Probably
Absolutely,
not.
They're banking on that. But they don't know how cheap some people are.
Right.
Like, I'm leaving that shirt in my car, and every time I want to go by Denny's, I have it with me, and I put that shirt on over whatever I'm wearing.
Right.
I get a 3X shirt.
Yeah.
And I just pull it on over whatever I'm wearing.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then doing 150 of those. So and I had this conversation, like, if 40% of the meals are used, which is probably really aggressive to say that, because not everyone's going to go every day. it costs them $100,000. So you look at it from the aspect of, is it worth it? You know what I mean? Is $100,000 worth the promotion you get? And I think that's the same way.
There's gonna have to be some other hooks where the people who have the shirts have to agree to appear on, be photoed, and do interviews and whatever else, so that they can continue to get their PR mileage out of a program like that.
But the funny thing about this, I remember we had the spokesman for the Ohio governor on that one day, and that was back when, during the vaccine lottery, where they were giving $1 million a week if you got the vaccine for COVID. It was funny because at the time he was like, "Yeah, you have to sign an agreement saying we could use your name forever." Mm-hmm. It was a big story for like a couple of days afterwards. No one cares now. You know what I mean? It's not like if you won $1 million, you're going to be on billboards today or something. You know, they're going to be like, what? You know, it's, you got your 15 minutes of fame, you're done. So
here, at least they would have the year. I mean, it's not going to be useful to Denny's anytime after that, but they've got a year of stock people that they can pull to be regular everyday people who are Denny's eaters.
But, you know, unfortunately, it's like, think about us with the podcast. I just said, hey, let's talk about it because it's going to be old story a week from now. I mean, think about regular media who, you know, does this full time. Are they going to want to interview those guys 6 months afterwards? You know, I mean, it might be interesting to say, hey, how many times did you go? Or if one guy's like, yeah, I went every day, you know, could say, hey, what are you doing? But it sounds more like a quirky story more than anything else. Yeah. Who knows? So very, very interesting. I don't know. I don't like Denny's food that much either. I think there's a Denny's around Columbus. Yeah, I'm not even sure if there's that many Denny's around Ohio. Is there Denny's? Denny's used to be a big thing. I'm not even sure if it's that big of a restaurant.
I mean, we have them here.
All right, I need to look this up now because maybe I'm anti-Denny's, but I'm thinking about like Denny's. I can't even tell you if I know that many around where I live here in Central Ohio. Oh, I'm right, actually. This is strange. There is a Denny's in Columbus. It's open 24 hours, but the next nearest one is... Yeah, I'm only seeing 4 around Ohio.
Wow.
Hey, that can't be right.
I'm trying to think of where they are in my town, and I can only think of the one.
Yeah, I'm doing a search here. I'm seeing one in like Findlay, one in Marion, one in Zanesville. It's all like different parts of Ohio. And I used to think that there was a lot more. Maybe there's more. Yeah, or maybe 5? Wow, that stuns me, man. I thought there'd be more Denny's around. Did you ever like Denny's?
Yeah, Denny's is all right. Oh, there's 2 in Jackson.
Oh. Maybe Denny's gave up Ohio for some reason. So to the point, unless like you live right by that Denny's in your hometown, it may not make sense for you to buy that shirt if they're really far away. Like if the nearest Denny's is an hour away, don't buy the shirt.
Yeah.
So, very interesting. And anything else about
now, if
Denny's?
it were Waffle House in my area, oh my gosh, there's like dozens of them.
Yes. We've talked about this before, but I used to think Waffle House was great because I like waffles. Don't like how Waffle House keeps their restaurant, though. That makes it hard.
Well, I guess it's not for everybody.
Have you been to Waffle House recently?
I'm trying to think of the last time. It might be a couple months since I've been.
There was a company in Canton that I worked at that had Waffle House in the same plaza where you could just walk from the company to Waffle House. I definitely ate Waffle House more around that.
Yeah.
I think there is a Waffle House down the street from my house. I'm not sure if it's still there or not, but it used to be there. Yeah, there's a couple in Columbus. Huh. Very interesting. All right. Well, hey, let's move on. I think I'm talking about Waffle House way too much here. Joe, do you do a lot of Christmas shopping, or is that more of what your wife handles?
My wife does a lot of the shopping where it's like we know what we want to get. We know where this kid has this things they want, and this kid has this list, and she does a lot of the stuff where it's that list. But then I end up being in charge of going and getting the stuff that it's like bulk stuff, where it's like each kid gets one of this, each kid gets one of this, each kid gets one. I end up doing a lot of that stuff, and of course, Santa Claus is in charge of a lot of the
giving. Right. Yeah, don't let your kids listen. It's going to ruin them for Christmas forever. It'll be rough. Well, and see, here's the thing. I used to get depressed, Ryan, and I know Christmas giving, you spend time trying to find the gift or everything. But think about it, before internet shopping became a big thing, in Saturdays in December, it usually was really cold and snowy. And, we had to spend the whole day trudging around looking for gifts. And it just became a pain in the butt. But the thing I like now about online shopping is, you can still spend time. You can think about what's best, but you can do a lot of your Christmas shopping online. Mm-hmm. And it took me a while to get my wife to get that, but once she did, Christmas shopping's not too bad. What makes it hard, though, is, if you're doing the Amazon thing, you get a lot sent via Amazon, you got to make sure the person you're buying for isn't looking when the package gets delivered.
Well, once you get to the place where you're getting so many packages, they just all are a blur. No one's like, what's this package? Well, there's been 3 packages a day every day for the past 3 weeks. It's like, well, that's another package. I don't know what's in that.
Here's the hard thing. My wife has to buy a lot of her school supplies via packages. So we get a fair share of Amazon packages. It's not always, hey, this is fun or new. It's just sometimes stuff for her work. But my daughter, every time, want to see, open. And even if it turns into like school supplies, she wants to see everything. So it's kind of hard.
Yeah. That becomes an issue.
Well, let's spend a little time looking at this because there is a story from USA Today. All the gift guides are coming out, and I'm curious to see what's the biggest thing right now. Let's go through them. Apple iPad, AirPods, Apple Watch, a lot of the Apple stuff.
But that's been every year, right? I mean, that's always on there.
Are you looking for help for your wife, Joe?
Help for her? What do you mean?
Well, knowing what to buy her. My wife can be hard to buy for.
Well, yeah. I mean, so my wife will give me a decent list of stuff. I'm trying to remember what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But she'll say things. You know what you need to get me is this.
Yes.
And that's always the list of the practical stuff. She's not usually one for what I need is 8 new necklaces. Like, that's just not her. So, so it ends up being a list of very practical things. And so sometimes I'm on my own to come up with something that's a little more meaningful rather than a new set of pots and pans.
Yeah, I'm kind of like more like for us, especially my wife, she chases around the kids all day. Usually the last kid's in bed by 10 p.m. So it's kind of like her time where she can, do some schoolwork if she needs to. She'll turn the TV on, watch a show she likes to watch and everything. But what makes it hard is by that time, it's hard to say, hey, I'm going to get you this book or I'm going to get you this coffee maker or whatever else the case might be. She likes her subscriptions. I mean, I hate to always go back to the streaming TV, but she's asked me about that. She likes some stuff that's coming up on Hulu. And I might even get her a Hulu subscription just because that's what she likes to do. And by the time she's done, she doesn't have time to go to the ice skate at the local hockey ice arena or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's
right.
Sometimes just, giving her something she can be comfortable with late at night. Kind of gets boring when you get older and your parents, Joe. It used to be we can go out and do a bunch of fun stuff. Now it's just subscriptions and everything.
Too tired to do anything.
Does anything on that list?
Do not get me tickets to the Shrek rave.
Yes. Everyone's gonna get tickets. It'll be fun.
It's mostly a Shrek rave Christmas.
Yes. Well, that's why I got to start doing. We haven't been that podcast, but instead of we're doing this for fun and passion and everything. Maybe we should start having people who can send us samples of stuff, so our pay would be getting samples of different things. You know what I mean?
It'll be a start.
Yeah, like we'll start having people. I don't know, like like we once talked to Kevin Love, and they were supposedly going to send us some dog biscuits that never came or anything. But maybe we need that more. We can get paid in dog biscuits and stuff like that. It should be fun.
Still pay.
I hate to go through this list one by one. Did anything strike your fancy in that list? Stuff you want to mention? I hate to mention all of them, but some of them aren't that interesting or great.
Yeah. I've been seeing this one says a legacy box, and I don't understand what that is. So that's strange. But I've been seeing those. I'm assuming it's some type of subscription box.
Yeah, I've actually heard about that. Let me pull that up.
Yeah, that's like it looks to be, it's like a subscription box, and then it has, you can convert tapes or films or sets of pictures to digital, like regular photos.
Yeah. And
that's a pretty cool thing. Years ago, my grandmother used to take Super 8 videos, the kind of like camera Super 8 films, the kind that didn't have sound on it. So it's basically silent films. And at one point, we did something similar to this. This was years ago, so it was much more annoying. This is a lot more self-contained and easy to use. But to send videos, send those film tapes away to have somebody make videos of it. And of course, they made them all into VHS tapes. So now they're old VHS tapes that need to be converted to digital. So, we just keep upgrading these Super 8 videos. I don't know if they do. Now, I guess they do films. It says tapes or films.
Yeah, but if you think it, but they have a cost. I mean, I'm looking at this 40-item trunk.
Yeah.
Trunk. Okay, you convert up to 40 tapes or 40 films, and that can be tough. But man, $464. I mean,
it's normally it's almost $1,200 normally.
But still, man, $460. I mean, that'll be hard. I don't know. I'm a cheap gift giver. I mean, that's more than I would normally spend on a gift.
Right. And frankly, if you had an extra $500 laying around, you could probably buy the equipment that you could use to digitally transfer it yourself.
Yeah, that's true. I'm almost thinking this would be like the family gets together. Like, I don't know. My mom is in a facility right now, and my dad's gone. So I'm almost even looking at it as saying, all right, family, we've got this 40 tapes of us as kids. Maybe we all chip in $150, and now we've got this for each of us to enjoy. And you're right. You could probably buy the equipment yourself for that money, but you sit there and say, hey, at least, we don't have to worry about doing it ourselves or something. I mean, that's where I see something that could come in as a cool thing. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I just kind of, I keep kicking myself. Like, my dad's been gone for probably 6-7 years now, and that was before video became such a big deal on phones. I don't have that many videos of him. I wish, if this would have been like 10 years later, like his sermons, like now, a lot of sermons, there's hundreds of sermons on YouTube. I wish I had more access to stuff like that. So, I don't know. So you think the price makes sense? Legacy box?
It could, if you're not somebody who is, a person that is industrious enough to do this for yourself.
Right.
There's a lot of people who are either tech heads or people who would get interested and passionate enough about it, get like laser focused enough to like be, if you would transfer this stuff yourself, for that cost, you could probably get the equipment that would do the transfer of it yourself. But if you're not that person, I don't know. That's a lot less than what it would take to do, to do it normally at some other time of the year.
Yeah,
this is a pretty decent sale, like 65% off, I guess, right now.
Oh yeah, And in my town, there was a store that used to do that. And I think it was like $15 a tape. So yeah, those things do cost a lot. I wonder if it'd be easier just to put them like on YouTube and make it private or something, than having a bunch of DVDs or whatever. But I guess then what happens if YouTube goes away one day? They're all gone. So it's
right. All of a sudden, a billionaire buys YouTube and ruins it somehow.
Yes, that will never happen. Right.
Nah, never happens. I don't know what you mean. Something that's a staple of society definitely can't get ruined in a weekend.
Yeah, as people listen know, I'm covering public relations and social media, and the past week I've pretty much had to follow every tweet by Elon Musk. And it's nice enough to check his Twitter feed today. I think that's why I kind of feel bad.
That guy is a disaster.
Well, it's very, and not to get super political here, but it's almost Trumpian where he wants to make the news on his Twitter feed. Because he's got no communications department or anything, so whenever you want to say something, you just do that. Here's something else I wanted to pull up because I've written about this before. I don't know too much about it. Have you seen Meta? That's the company that owns Facebook and Instagram. They're really trying to get people into virtual reality headset. I watched a presentation from Mark Zuckerberg that he thinks that in the future you could do your work via headset. You don't have to worry about like laptops or anything. In essence, you can, your headset will get you into your company's, mainframe and everything, and you can do work directly through the headset. It looks strange, and I don't think we're quite there as a society yet. But it's interesting. They're selling this Meta Quest 2, and they're actually coming out with a new one, so it's a little cheaper now. It's $400. And honestly, Joe, I'm not a big VR guy, so I wouldn't say this. But did you see the commercial where they have a football game? It's not Madden, but it's a similar game where you can play NFL football via VR. Now, Joe, I'm not sure if I want to spend $400 to do that.
No.
But that actually kind of sounds interesting.
You know what else you could do? Just go out in the backyard and play football.
Yeah, but it's pretty real-life graphics. I mean,
Yeah, but you know what else is real life?
Yeah, going out and playing yourself.
Real life is also...
At least you get the exercise, though, from that. I mean,
do you?
Well, you have to run around. I mean, I can't just sit here on my couch and do it. I mean, I guess you can. Well, you can, but you can't play as well. It goes back to the old Wii thought, of Wii or Nintendo Switch, where you've got those controllers and everything. I mean, yeah, you can do it on your couch, but it's hard to do it as well.
You still can.
Yeah,
and you will, because that's what's the thing. You get up and you like do boxing or you bowl or play baseball or whatever else until eventually you do just sit down and do those things, and it does it just as well.
Well, and here's the other thing. I want to have this guy back on, the Trey guy from ESPN who does cornhole. I got really excited because the other day he posted a picture. They're actually coming out with a video game for cornhole, which I was excited about at first. But I'm like, excuse me, couldn't you play that on your own? You don't need a video game for cornhole. You just get your cornhole set and you throw it. How weird is it to play cornhole on a video game? I don't know.
It's very weird.
Very strange. But I don't know. I mean, if it was realistic enough, it might be fun to actually be maneuvering around and playing a Madden-like football game. I can kind of get into that. I'm not spending $400 to see what that's like. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
I was a little freaked out. I actually saw a VR thing at the store. I went to buy this laptop over the weekend, and there was a VR goggles, but I had to go home quick, and I wasn't sure if I could test it out or not. But I almost wanted to give it a try.
Well, that's up to you.
Yes.
You go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Do you think, sometimes I kind of wonder, is VR going to be the end of us? Like, is that dangerous territory that we're going into, that we're getting a world of VR?
I mean, it does feel like the next step, doesn't it? I mean,
yes.
Now they got everybody working from home. Next, it's going to be VR.
Well, one of the tribulation movies, if you're not a Christian, it's like the rapture where people disappear and the judgments come and everything. One of the Tribulations movie has a world where they use VR. So you meet the Antichrist and you decide there if you're going to follow him or not. And I was kind of thinking that way. I saw the whole thing about the VR stuff. But again, just because a movie portrays that doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. But, every time something like that happens, people are like, oh, what's it going to be used for? It's something bad or whatever. Yeah. It just seems strange to wear VR glasses. Yeah. And I guess I saw a clip of Bill Gates on Letterman shortly after the internet got introduced, and he was talking about email and everything, and David Letterman was like, what are you talking about? This is 30 years ago. So I guess back then, maybe emails sound weird to us, and now emails are common. We do this all the time. So I don't know, maybe after a while VR become more normal, but it just seems so strange to have everyone walking around with VR glasses on. It just doesn't, it feels weird.
It is, yes.
But I guess 30 years ago, no one would imagine we'd be staring at our phones all the time. So maybe this is the next step.
That's true. Or that you could carry around a high-powered computer in your pocket.
Yeah. Or the fact you can take videos. I remember
the technology that's in our pocket every day is far beyond what was used to go to the moon.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think back to my dad, too, just with taking videos. Like, when he was alive, video camera, I don't know if it was a luxury. It was more if you had to carry stuff around. It was a bigger camera and everything. Mm-hmm. And now you just point your phone at something and take the same type of video. It definitely makes things a lot more interesting. So, yeah. All right. Well, that's most of what I had today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I get excited about Christmas. Again, I bought this laptop over the weekend. I told my wife I should not buy more Christmas gifts or get more Christmas gifts to me because I spent too much on that. But I don't know. But I don't know. The older we get, we get excited for kids and everything. But I'm not sure. I don't know. All right. Well, what else is happening? Anything else you see that we should talk about real quick, Joe?
No, not particularly. Just getting ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Well, something else I wanted to bring up. We have a few minutes. You're in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yep.
With the mighty Jackson State football game.
Yeah.
Football team.
Yeah. 11-0 regular season.
Well, I've heard some freak out. And I'm not watching ESPN every day, so I'm not sure if maybe I just tuned in 1 second when they're freaking out about, or if it's a real big deal. But I know nationally, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, Deion Sanders is talking to some other schools around there." Are people freaked out in Jackson about the possibility of Deion leaving Jackson State?
I think they would be freaking out if they thought that was real. But I feel like it's not real. Maybe he's talking to people because they call him up and have appointments, but I think he's pretty pot committed to staying until his kids finish because they're all at JSU. His kids are. And he's there to coach his son, and his daughter goes to school there. Like, I don't think he really leaves until his kids are through.
Could they all transfer out, though? I mean, was the free agency
he
of college
made a
sports.
very specific choice to stay, to choose to come to an HBCU. So I think that's important to him. And unless these other schools, until we find out that they are also HBCU, I'm not that worried about it.
I mean, he's definitely a good coach. I think it's harder. Like, one of the schools I heard a possibility, Auburn needs a head coach.
So I don't really see that happening.
Well, and the hard thing about it too is not that Deion Sanders couldn't do well at a school like Auburn.
Yeah.
But at Auburn, you're another face in the crowd. Where, I mean, I'm sure he could maybe improve Auburn, but it's hard to go into SEC and just say, "Oh, I'm a good coach now. I'm going to be great in the SEC." It may happen, it may not. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, choosing to take on a fixer-upper like JSU from a couple of years ago when he came in, I mean, there was a lot of work to be done, and of course, he can show up. He can now recruit a completely different caliber of player than they were recruiting because suddenly at an HBCU, these students have access to connections with draft, with actual NFL teams, there's a lot of upside to having him there over most of the other candidates that they had at the time. That's not a major switch for Auburn. Auburn has access to all of those things, so it's not a change for that culture to have somebody like Sanders come in. Now, Coach Prime certainly has a way of doing things and a drive and he's a good motivator of people. So I think there's still benefit for him, for the program to consider a coach like him. I'm not saying that he's not a good coach, but as far as the difference that he makes day one by walking on campus, it's a different ball game than when he showed up at JSU.
I'm looking online. Fox is reporting that Deion is reportedly in talks with the University of Colorado and South Florida. And they're major college programs, but how's it help for him to go there? I'm not expecting him to go to Ohio State next year, but what does Colorado have and South Florida have that Jackson State doesn't? I know they're a bigger school, but Colorado? What's the big deal about that?
Yeah, I think you go and have the talks with them and start to look at what these other schools have in terms of what they're offering to coaches and what they're offering to students and what the teams and the environments that they have. I'm not saying this is what he's doing, but you go and you check out the competition at what could be considered to be the next level and bring that back home and say, this is the environment we want to bring. Come back to JSU and say, look at what these other schools are doing. This is what we need to be competing against.
Yeah, I can at least.
I think that's much more likely what the reason he's having those conversations than actually intending to go.
I actually buy into the possibility of Auburn a little bit more because it's SEC and it's a much bigger conference. But like the Colorado, South Florida, I just don't see it. Yeah. And South Florida is in what's that conference they're in now?
I don't know.
I'm apologize everybody. It's not very not Power 5. I'll put it that way. I look at Colorado right now. They're in the Pac-12, but the Pac-12 may be no more because USC and UCLA is going to the Big Ten. So I would almost think even if you're not in a good football school, it makes sense to go one of those big Power 5 conferences. You're not really in a big relevant conversation with who you're playing with anymore. It's just tough. So nothing would stun me anymore, but that doesn't sound like that's way too possible. So I don't know. Does Deion make it around town? I know Jackson's a bigger city. It's not like a.
Oh no, we're not that big.
How many people are in Jackson?
People ask me that.
Is it the size of like Canton or?
I want to say it's not that far off.
Okay. Well, I guess it's like okay. Well,
Jackson itself is at 150,000.
Okay.
But that's just Jackson. There's several other towns around town, which I want to say bumps it to like almost double that. So that's still not that big.
Does Deion make his way around town?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's been a big deal the past couple of years to have him, around town, coming to places. Like he's been a huge ambassador for the city of Jackson.
Okay. Is he approachable?
I don't really know. I've never seen him somewhere, and I've never talked to him. So,
yeah, I'm kind of curious how that would work out. Like, can you approach him if or is it cool to say, hey, good to meet you, Deion, or is it like a guy you shouldn't talk to or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Like, I don't feel like he's a guy that just goes alone to places. He has an entourage pretty much where he goes, and spends a lot of his time doing his job, and then spends some time not in Jackson.
Okay.
Because I think he has his house in Texas, So like I think during the times where he's not working or really needed on campus, he's splitting his time.
Okay.
So,
but
he does a lot of stuff. He does a lot of meetings with the mayor and the city council and that kind of stuff. So he's around and does stuff.
The other thing, I guess he had Prime Prep Academy that had some issues financially. That some people said that any Power 5 school may turn up their nose at. Which was kind of like a charge school of his. It wasn't like he was running a big program, but if he had that issue too, some people are like, I don't know if I want that here.
Yeah. You never know.
Very interesting. Oh, I need to mention real quick before we go. We should mention this in the Steelers show. Our text back and forth between the three of us. Did you see the text from Paul? Aaron Smith, former defensive lineman for the Pittsburgh Steelers, is now coaching a high school team in Pennsylvania, a
girls basketball team.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird to me. I don't know. I don't know anything about the guy. Does he know basketball? Apparently.
We got to get Aaron Smith on. If Aaron Smith's the coach of a local high school team, I think he's goable. I love to have Aaron Smith on. I was a huge Aaron Smith guy.
Well, there you go. Call him up.
He might be available.
Call up the school. Leave a message.
Yeah. Very, very interesting. And maybe we can ask a couple questions about how the girls team will do. We can do some analysis there. So, all right. Well, anything else going in your life, Joe? In general?
Nope. So good.
No plays, no wrestling podcasts, or
nope.
You're not going into wrestling?
Nope. Not anytime soon.
You could be the Pat McAfee.
I think there's a show in December. I think it's on the 17th. I have to look at my schedule to be sure, but we have one. The guy who runs our local independent wrestling group also is in the military, and he's actually deployed for 18 months. So we actually have a little gap of time where the leadership is slightly different, and so it's going to be interesting to see how things go over the next year. But
Pat McAfee, who's big in talk shows, like he was broadcasting, what was it, like WWE or something?
Yep, and WWE Friday Night SmackDown. He was one of the two announcers at the table.
Yeah, he ended up wrestling in some of those. Or
he did. That was a long time dream of his, and so he got to wrestle at WrestleMania. He actually, got a couple of matches, and then he actually got to do a spot with Stone Cold Steve Austin at last year's WrestleMania.
Any chance you'll follow suit, Joe? That you're going to be in a wrestling thing?
I don't know.
Oh, breaking news, Joe.
I can't talk about it.
Joe could be a wrestler now.
I seriously doubt that. I would hurt myself getting in the ring.
My first sports reporting job, they had me cover a wrestling match and a pro wrestling day at the local thing, and they didn't know how I was going to write it, so I decided to be funny about it, and I just kind of made fun of the whole thing. But I talked to a wrestler after a match. He thought I was part of the gig. So I just walked up to him after he won, and he started screaming at me. I'm like, dude, what's up? Well, he had his mic, and he thought I was part of the gig, which was weird. I'm like, no, I'm actually a reporter trying to do that, which is, I don't know, pro wrestling's interesting. I'll just leave it at that. So,
hey, I did see a pro wrestling article thing. It's the thing that happened in West Virginia. There is a wrestler who has a gimmick about being being liberal. Like politically liberal in West Virginia, which is decided a small and rural West Virginia town, mostly miners that are highly, highly conservative, Trump supporting Republicans, and so I saw a little news blurb thing about it where over the past year and a half, it's become much more dangerous. And the last show that they just did, they had to cut the match short because the crowd got so hot so fast when he walked out. And he's been there for a while, and it's his job. He's a heel. He's a bad guy. So his job is to go out and antagonize the audience. And then when the hero comes out and beats him, everybody's happy. But he just walked out, and immediately there were fans at the rail trying to fight him. And he's like, I've had somebody pull a knife on me. I've had people start stuff up with me outside of the thing while I'm just trying to get in my car. And they're like, what are we going to do? Because it's just so hot right now to be in that region, to be a liberal. And he is a liberal politically, but it's nowhere near as raging as he is as a character. So it's just become a real dangerous atmosphere when people don't understand that this is just a show. There's a great new series on Vice. It's called Tales from the Territories. The Rock and his ex-wife actually are the producers on it, where for each territory around the country, they had a group of people sit at a table and tell stories of, wrestling in the 60s and 70s.
Now,
and
is
the
this
kind
guy...
of stuff that would go on.
Yeah, I'm seeing a video. It looks like CNN did a story about a day ago. He's wearing like a big Joe Biden T-shirt, which looks
it's a T-shirt with Joe Biden's picture all over it. He also has another one of Kamala Harris and
oh wow!
had one of Hillary. Oh yeah.
Fantastic. Is he really liberal or conservative?
He is liberal.
Oh, okay.
But nowhere near to the level of his character where he would come out and shouting at people and whatever. But he is politically liberal. But it's just crazy. I somebody in our circle, we have a Facebook group of all the guys who are in our wrestling group, and somebody put it up in there, and I watched it, and my response was, "Well, now turn him face. Now you got to figure out a way to make crowds cheer for that guy." Like, that's the game. And now you know what you're doing. If you can take that character that people hate so much that they're threatening to fight him, if you can now figure out a pathway to make him somebody that everybody would cheer for, now you're doing the real work.
I'm enjoying what we do now, and I couldn't live with myself if I did that. But you know what it would be like if we became like this big liberal show or a big MAGA show. Uh-huh. I mean, you would get listeners all over the place either way. Because a lot of times people just do that. But I couldn't live with myself, and I would burn myself out after a week because I couldn't. I don't care, and it just. And one side I'm definitely opposed to. So it's very interesting. So
that's like when we were talking about all you need to do to sell records. All you got to do is sell out. All you got to do is the Shrek rave. Everybody will.
Hey, give us 6 months, and then we'll become.
We're the Shrek podcast.
Yeah, we'll either be the Shrek podcast, or be MAGA,
Shrek rave
or
podcast. Yay!
Yeah. We'll either be a Biden podcast, MAGA, or Shrek in 6 months. You never know. It'll be fun.
Maybe all of it.
Hey, I'm looking at the time. I gotta run. But Joe, thanks again. For Paul and Joe, this is Chris. Have a great night, everybody.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Mooney. Welcome to what is our new Hope Interrupted podcast based on the work from our book, Hope Interrupted, that I co-authored with my good friend Byron McCauley.
Hey, Jennifer, I'm looking forward to this podcast as much as I was looking forward to writing this book with you. We hope to interview some high impact folks as well as have a little fun.
We're going to cover stories of hope. To learn more about our podcast and our book, please visit www.hopeinterrupted.com.